Congratulations! Your school was awarded a Plastics and Polymer Education Grant by the Society of Plastic Engineers. Please thank your teachers and administrators that took the time to get the grant for your school. The Society of Plastic Engineers has partnered with 3DS HQ to make this grant possible to put advanced manufacturing equipment into schools throughout the country. 3DS HQ is a St. Louis-based business that will walk you through unboxing and basic operations of your FlashForge 5M Pro. 3DS HQ will also be providing the phone support and email support and troubleshooting to help you ensure that this equipment goes to great use long into the future. We are also your trusted source for filaments, accessories, and 3D printing supplies to keep your classroom enjoying your new technology. Today, we're going to be unboxing and learning how to use your FlashForge 5M Pro 3D printer. I'm Shane McDuffie, the Technical Operations Coordinator at 3DS HQ. Let's get started. So this is the 5M Pro box. Let's go ahead and get this open. So once you get your box unpacked, you'll notice a few accessories that are inside of the box there. You're going to go ahead and get a spare 0.6mm nozzle. So this is just above the standard size that you would normally have on the machine. You'll get a flash drive to be able to transfer files back and forth between the computer and your device there. There is another small little box of accessories in here, which is going to give you some side cutters, some basic tools, your spool holder for the back side, as well as some build plate adhesive. And the final thing for the accessories is you get a little starter sampler spool of their material. This is burnt titanium. This is actually one of my favorite colors that they make. It's really pretty. So the first thing we're going to do is actually release our build plate from the device itself here. In shipping, they screw down the build plate so it doesn't shake around or damage any components. In your FlashForge kit, you'll get a set of Allen keys. In order to release the bed, we're going to go ahead and take our 2mm, which is our center one here, and start unscrewing this back silver screw for each one of these corners here. Please note that there is an arrow pointing to which screw you're going to remove, and make sure not to remove these Phillips screws in front of it. So this is what the screw will look like when you pull it out. It is silver and not black. And keep in mind too that you have two of them back here as well on the back lead screw. So the next thing on our list is we're going to go ahead and put on our spool holder that goes on the back side of the machine here, so our filament has a place to rest to be able to feed into the machine. So in your FlashForge kit again with those Allen keys, we're going to put our 2mm back, and we're going to go ahead and take our 1.5mm, which will be the small one here. Inside the accessory kit there you should have seen a spool holder as well as a set of screws inside of that little cardboard box that comes with your kit. You'll notice on here that there's actually two holes on one side and none on the other side. the 2 holes will correspond to the 2 holes here on the back of the machine. So this is your power cable that comes with your machine here. On the back side of the machine, you'll see the actual input for it here, as well as a power switch. So next thing we're going to do is plug in our machine into the outlet there, and then make sure that we turn this switch on. So after you've turned on your machine here, you have one more power switch up front here to actually wake up the device. What we're going to actually run here is the calibration procedure to get the machine all fine-tuned before it actually starts printing. So this is what you'll see when you first turn on the machine here. Since we are English speakers, we'll go ahead and hit English and next. This is going through the print preparation here saying, hey, make sure all of your packing material is removed. We're going to start the calibration, so we'll hit next again. If we're going to set up Wi-Fi right now, this is where we'd go ahead and do that. For the time being, we're going to skip this step. And now it's going to run through its calibration. All right, so our calibration is complete. It is now asking us to load the material. So we're going to go ahead and take our sampler spool that came with it here and go ahead and talk about the loading procedure. Now that the machine is ready to go, we're going to go ahead and load our sampler spool of filament that came with the device here. A few things to note with this. Go ahead and unpack the one end there, and you'll notice that it is a little wiggly at the end. So we're going to take our little side cutter trimmers and cut a fresh section off to feed into the machine. So now on the menu here, the first thing that you'll do is select your material, which we are using PLA. So go ahead and select PLA here, and we'll hit load. You'll notice here that it's going to start preheating the machine. On the back side, we'll go ahead and start loading our spool here. Make sure you put it into the end of this PTFE tube and go ahead and start feeding. Don't go all the way to the tool head quite yet. Our next step here is we're going to go ahead and open up the top of the machine here and just gently pull up on this PTFE tube and then continue to feed our filament through till we see it come out the end here. Now on the front touchscreen here, once it is actually heated up to temp, we're going to go ahead and feed it into the hole. And it should go ahead and grab it and take it in. And just gently guide the PTFE tube back into the slot. You'll now notice a little bit of purge that'll come out of the nozzle end there. And we'll let this process go until it stops. And you'll notice on the screen here, it'll say load complete, and we'll go ahead and hit our print button, which will take us to our main test page here. All right, to now start a print here, on our menu section on the left-hand side, the second one down will be where our files are in our system here. And you'll notice at the top menu here that you have system files that are already pre-downloaded for you to browse and print with. If you ever enter USB, you can click on the USB button here to show the files that would be on your USB drive. For this print here, we're just going to go ahead and do a quick test print with this dodecahedron that's built into it. One thing to note, make sure you click leveling every time you print to make sure that you have a good build plate adhesion. And then go ahead and click the green button here to start your print. All right, so our next step in order to print with our machine here, we're going to download some software. We're going to download what's called a slicing program. What this effectively does is take our digital object and cuts up into layers into what's called G-code for our machine to be able to read. Now we're going to go to FlashForge's website here. At the top you'll see software, and then you'll click on Orca Flash. Once here, depending on if you have a Windows machine or a Mac device there, you would hit one of these two links here to download it. Once you download it, there is a pretty simple basic setup procedure once you go and download it. And what you'll see next is this screen here. What you'll do then is hit Create New Project on the top here. And the first thing we're going to do is check a few machine settings. The first thing we want to verify is that we have the correct machine selected, the correct bed selected as well as some filament, which we are using FlashForge PLA basic material. Now, in order to import an object, we got to find one. A good file repository to go to would be Thingiverse. So here we've searched up some customizable sanding blocks that we can print out. At the top here, we can go ahead and download these files. Once we have our files downloaded, we can go back to our slicing program here. And at the top toolbar here, you'll see a little cube that says Add. We'll go ahead and click that and find the file. So once we've found our file, we'll go and click into our folder here, hit our files, and then select which file we're actually going to do. I'm going to go ahead and select our top one here to get us started. You'll notice now that the parts have populated onto the build plate here. On the left-hand side, you do have a couple of setting adjustments here, if you need to make those accordingly. We're going to stick with the stock settings on here. So next we're going to do is hit on the top right Slice Plate. And it's going to take us into this Preview tab as you see here. In this Preview tab, I can use these sliders to see how it's going to print each layer, as well as how it's going to print the section for each layer. But once we have the file how we like it, we'll go to the top here where this little drop down is next to Print Plate, and we'll click on Export Plate Sliced File. Once we select that, go ahead and click it again, and it's going to pull up our menu to drag and drop into our USB drive. I'm going to go ahead and put the test file onto our test file folder in our USB drive here. You can change the name as you need to, but we're just going to go ahead and save it for this example. One thing to note, make sure you safely remove your USB drive, and you can do that while inside of the slicing program here by clicking this button. Once it says it's successfully unmounted, you can go ahead and remove the USB, take to your printer, and go ahead and print.